Title: My fiancé said at dinner with friends, his proposal was pathetic. I almost said no. Everyone went quiet. I said, let me try again. Then I got on one knee and proposed to break up. When she laughed until she realized the ring was gone, start. I learned something about silence that night. Sometimes it's the loudest sound in the room. The moment she said it, his proposal was pathetic. I almost said no. The table froze. Forks hovered midair. Wine glasses stopped halfway to lips, and every pair of eyes flicked to me, waiting for my face to crack. It didn't. It couldn't. I'd spent months training myself not to react around her. So I just breathed, slow and steady, while her laughter scraped across the room like steel dragging over glass. She thought she owned the moment. She thought humiliation was a game. But that sentence, that was the final confirmation I needed. The last piece of a pattern I'd been tracking quietly. The spark that landed on a pile of gasoline I'd been stacking for weeks. So I smiled, and I said calmly, let me try again. I stood, reached into my pocket, and sank onto one knee. Not to propose, to end everything. But she didn't know that yet. There was a time I loved her, fully, stupidly. A time I believed her smile could erase my doubts, that her hand in mine meant safety. We traveled together, planned a future, whispered vows into dark rooms, as if saying them early would make them true later. She had this way of making me feel chosen. Then, she learned how to make me feel small. It began with subtle jabs, then jokes at my expense, then comparisons, criticisms, tests. And because I loved her, I excused every cut, until the cuts started forming a pattern. The real betrayal didn't start at that dinner table. It started 3 months earlier, on a night she thought I was asleep. I heard her voice in the living room, laughing. Not her soft laugh, but the one she used when she wanted someone to want her back. A man's voice answered. I didn't move, didn't breathe. I let my heart absorb the hit slowly, instead of ripping it out all at once. I learned that night that betrayal doesn't always slam. Sometimes it whispers. After that, I watched her. The late-night calls she'd silence when I walked in. The pictures she'd take from angles that weren't meant for me. The sudden need for space on weekends. I could have confronted her then, but anger gives people excuses. I wanted results. I started quietly pulling myself out of the life we built. First, the finances. We had a shared savings account. I emptied my half. Then the apartment. I spoke to the landlord, rearranged the lease, prepared to vanish without her permission. I gathered screenshots, messages, timestamps. Her conversation logs with him were pitifully easy to access. Her passwords were always emotional, names of the men she admired. Meanwhile, I acted normal, loving, predictable, the kind of consistency that makes a betrayer comfortable. I booked the dinner with friends myself. I needed witnesses. I needed her to feel untouchable, so that the fall would feel like reality tearing open around her. At the dinner table, when she announced my pathetic proposal, I didn't feel fire, I felt clarity. So there I was, on one knee again, the exact position where she'd said yes months earlier. Except this time, I controlled every beat, every breath, every second. Her smile widened, smug and glittering, as if she believed she was getting a second proposal, an upgraded version of the man she'd just mocked. She didn't notice the ring box wasn't in my hand. She didn't notice the friends shifting uncomfortably, sensing something electric under the surface. She only noticed me. "Baby," she said lightly, "you don't have to." "I do," I cut in. Her friends leaned forward. She tilted her head. And I delivered the line I'd been crafting for weeks. "I'm proposing that we break up." The table erupted. A different kind of silence this time, sharp, cutting. She laughed, too loud, too forced. "Stop playing," she snapped. "Get up." But I wasn't finished. "Look closer," I said. "The ring isn't here." Her eyes darted to my hands, then the table, then my pockets. Confusion crept in first, then fear. And when I said, "It's no longer yours," her face cracked beautifully. She reached for my arm. I pulled back. "You said yes to a man you didn't respect," I told her. "You joked about me to your friends, and to him." Her pupils widened. I knew she understood which him. The color drained from her face. Her best friend whispered, She told me she stopped talking to him." I shook my head. "Last call was at 1:13 a.m. 3 nights ago." Her mouth fell open, trembling. Then came the anger, raw, desperate, scrambling. "You're doing this in front of everyone? You're humiliating me?" "No," I said softly. "You did that to yourself. I'm just ending the performance." She stood so abruptly her chair toppled. Her voice cracked, hands shaking. "Where's the ring?" I let a slow breath fill the void. "In a safe," I answered, "with proof of everything. The lease is in my name, the accounts are empty, and by tomorrow morning you'll be out. The final blow, I'm letting you go the same way you held me, without mercy." Her knees buckled. Her friends looked away. Someone whispered, "Damn." Her world collapsed without me having to raise my voice. That was the point I walked out before she could speak again. Her sobs followed me to the door, small, strangled, undeserving. Outside, the night air felt colder, sharper, cleaner. People think revenge is loud, explosive. They're wrong. Revenge is quiet, precise, a scalpel, not a hammer. As I walked down the street, I felt nothing break inside me, nothing burn, nothing ache, just release. She taught me how to survive humiliation. I taught her what it feels like to lose the person who kept her from drowning. And in that balance, I found my peace.